Hello, we are barely managing. I'm Noah Pachowski.
I'm Tom King.
I'm Teo Lundblade.
I'm Lou Doherty.
And we are going to give you our observation and analysis on FiveGuys. Alright, so a little background on FiveGuys. FiveGuys is a fast food franchise known for its burgers, milkshakes, and fries. Their meals are higher quality than their competitors and are made to order for every single order. When we were first choosing to look at FiveGuys, we had some things already in mind of what we wanted to analyze. These things were the time spent to when each order was placed by the customer, to when the order number was called out by the employee. Another thing we would analyze was the time spent at each step in the process. We would be looking for potential bottlenecks in this process. The final thing we wanted to analyze was the amount of orders and what the most frequent order was.
While FiveGuys is not as fast as some other fast food competitors, they still produce between 44 and 88 burgers a day. The competitors, however, produce more burgers in an average shift. McDonald's with 80, Burger King with 200, and Carl Jr. with an average of 134. While FiveGuys products are more expensive and higher quality, they still do not move close to the amount of inventory of the cheaper and faster competition. When in the Shrewsbury store, our team timed and averaged specific key processes to determine how much time was spent preparing each aspect of the order.
On this slide, we have the important data that we gathered by our observations and by speaking to the employees. Depending on how busy the shift typically is at a given day and time, there will be between 4 and 6 employees working. Every worker is cross-trained to be able to work at any station in the process. The workers are constantly communicating with each other to make sure each meal is made with high quality and as fast as possible. When observing the line, we saw that the line wait time could be up to no wait or all the way up to about 5.5 minutes. We also observed that the amount of customers in the store ranged from 7 to 24 customers, while the dining room capacity was listed on the wall at 70 customers.
So for a little bit of break-even analysis, we made some estimates about their sort of weekly expenses and costs and what they need to, counteract those. So we came to the conclusion that FiveGuys needs to sell about 600 burgers a week to break even, which is an 84 per day, and then anything beyond that becomes, actual profit for the business, which seems relatively reasonable and doable from the data that we saw while we were there. And then, so here we made an X chart of our timing of how long it takes orders to be completed. So we have the order time on the far left with some averages and the upper limit and lower limit. And we found that for the most part, the process is pretty much in control. However, there are a few sort of spikes that jump, outside of those limits. We actually heard one of the managers consulting one of the employees, and they have a 9-minute cutoff for orders. They don't want any orders to take longer than 9 minutes. And for the most part, that seems to be supported by our control graph here and what we saw while we were there. So to try and avoid some of those spikes, we made a fishbone diagram to look at why there are some orders that are over 9 minutes in that slow category. So this probably is mostly due to, employees being tired, not necessarily trained all the way, and having other issues at the time and not paying attention necessarily. Again, there are other places where this sort of latency could come in, where they have to fix hardware. Maybe the cooking grill is slower than it normally is. These are unlikely because FiveGuys has probably honed it to a beautiful science at this point. So our main objective is to figure out how to speed up employees or speed up customers interacting with employees. So we also looked at the layout of the Shrewsbury store also, and as you can see, the layout's pretty streamlined. Information goes from the cashier window straight to the cooking grill, and then the food actually flows in sort of an L shape to the pickup window. The one issue that we really saw was that the shake station is sort of out of position and not particularly optimized for the rest of the flow of the restaurant.
All right, so here we have the critical path of the average FiveGuys order. This diagram shows the basic path an order must go through to be completed and given to the customer. And it kind of outlines the choices that can be made and the steps that follow each choice. So basically, customer order, is it a burger or are they just ordering sides? If it's a burger or a burger and sides, kind of go through the steps of assembling the burger, the sides. It all comes down to the customer who ends up receiving the order. So then we also looked at the functional requirements for Five Guys, or the FRs. So we made a basic sketch here to show how the store needs to operate efficiently, and we made some suggestions such as technological assistance to increase efficiency. This decreases non-value added time, therefore increasing profit. So like two of our ideas for that were putting in touchscreens to bring down like order time and to kind of help with the lines, and having a screen on the pickup window for order numbers. So that way the Five Guys employees wouldn't have to sit there and shout out the order number over and over again. It'd just be displayed on the screen. That way they're not wasting time looking for customers. So for our next slide, we have the design parameters. So we created a design diagram for Five Guys. This design starts off with the order, which is most important aspects of their business. First, the meal must be safe to eat or the business will be shut down for contaminating its customers. Next, the order must be delivered fast, accurate, taste good, look appetizing, and fill the customer's hunger. These qualities of the food is what the customers are looking for when they decide to eat at Five Guys. Not only must the food taste good, but it must be consistent so that way the customers are never disappointed when they return. Five Guys uses a demand pull production process. In a pull system, the production of products is based on the demand. Production will not start on the product until there is a known demand for said process. Five Guys only starts their grill to grill their burgers when an order has been placed. This pull system helps reduce waste in the system by having employees only work on the products that they know are going to leave the kitchen. Five Guys still needs to keep enough inventory to be able to supply this pull system.
They also incorporate their customers' needs into their processes by making safe, quality, and appetizing food that is delivered quickly and relatively cheap. There is a waiting line if necessary, but the employees did a good job keeping the line moving. As said earlier, we overheard the manager criticize its employees for taking over 9 minutes to deliver an order, which means she is timing their work in order to prevent future complaints. The only real feedback system for customer complaints in the restaurant is complaining to the manager who was in charge at the time.
When looking at the capacity of Five Guys, we saw 5 major factors that affect the capacity. The first limiting factor was the number of customers. Five Guys needs to have customers to be able to operate successfully. The next limiting factor that affects the business operations is the number of employees. If Five Guys does not have enough employees working, then they will not be able to produce enough products on time. The next limiting factor is the capacity of the equipment. The employees need to be able to cook as many products as demanded on time, and if the grill or fry later is full, then it kills production time. The inventory of product will also affect the capacity. The managers need to make sure they always have enough inventory in the back to be able to meet the demand of their product. The final capacity limiting factor we looked at was the location. The location needs to be easily accessible, as well as be able to comfortably hold the inventory, employees, customers, and equipment.
After observing and studying Five Guys' processes, we determined that this organization is already extremely efficient. However, we were able to come up with 2 suggestions that we believe could help make them even more efficient. Our first idea is that they should implement order touchscreens into their ordering process. This idea will allow customers who are paying with a card to place their order and pay through a touchscreen. The goal of this suggestion is to free up employees to take care of people paying with cash or to do other tasks that need to be done throughout the restaurant. It will also encourage spending, eliminate language barriers, reduce waiting time, and increase order accuracy. Our other idea is to place a screen at the pickup station which will show the number of the orders ready to be picked up. We believe this suggestion will free up employees from continuously calling order numbers when it is loud and hectic in the restaurant. It will also be more convenient for the customers, especially those who might have hearing disabilities, to just be able to look at the screen every few minutes instead of trying to listen for their number in a crowded restaurant.
I'm Tom.
I'm Noah.
I'm Teo.
I'm Lou.
And we'd like to thank you for listening to our presentation.
We are barely managing.